Welcome to Coaching Through Adversity with Coach K. I'm your host, Coach Kenneth Thompson. I've been a coach for 40 years. I've coached in various states. I've coached in Connecticut, Virginia, and now South Carolina. My story starts in 1966 when I was born. I was born to the parents of Sarah and Judge Thompson. I'm the youngest of 9. I'm the baby, yes, I am the baby. I'm not spoiled, but I'm the baby. Grew up through some tough stuff. Grew up with mom just, really supporting us the most and being that role model and being that provider for us. So adversity was something I grew into throughout my formative years. So, I got to see how someone raises children, the struggles that they go through, without complaint, without any, throwing it back in your face. Hey, I took care of you. Now it's time for you to take care of me. Never had to go through that. So me growing up, I was blessed to have a mother and still have a mother that gives me some insight, whether she knows it or not. She can be a little tough on me sometimes, when it comes to spiritual matters, but love her nonetheless. As I got a little older, we did a lot of moving around as I was young, as I started elementary school, middle school. I went to probably 4 or 5 elementary schools. And I went to 1 middle school and 2 high schools. So, but in my teenage years, I faced some adversity outside of the constant relocating. 1981 was a tough year for me into 1982. May of 1981, I lost my sister to domestic violence. That was my best friend who I lost. So I lost someone that I really, really trusted to talk to. So when that relationship was gone, it was hard for me to trust anyone, talk to anyone, feel like anyone that could relate to what I was going through. Because at that age, I was going through some self-conscious stuff, acne, and, you're trying to feel yourself out as a young man. You don't know if someone likes you or, are you even someone's type at that time? So the adversity I went through was more of a social and self-conscious type of adversity at that age. On top of dealing with being angry that my sister, now my best friend, was gone. Senselessly gone, So I'm thinking, hey, I'm trying to work through that as a teenager, and 10 months later, my father is brutally murdered. Hartford, Connecticut again. Not to say that Hartford, Connecticut was a place that I regret living in, because I learned a lot living there, That made me who I am as a person. So from the ages of 15 to maybe 30, I was an angry person, very angry. Wasn't angry to the point where I was violent towards people or anything, just angry. Everything kind of pissed me off to a point, and I kind of made myself do positive things to kind of like shield me from using that negativity as a reasoning to getting to something that could have been life-threatening to me or life-threatening to someone else. So about 20 years old, I decided, hey, you know what? I have a love for basketball. I'm going to go over to the local elementary school that I graduated from, and I'm going to offer to help in any way I can. So my first experience with coaching, outside of me always watching basketball and studying it, was coaching a group of elementary school kids. Loved it. Got to mentor some kids with some issues that I was going through, some behavioral issues, some mentally angry kids, some physically angry kids, some kids that were just going through some tough times because of their family dynamics. So I could relate, which was a great thing, because we could talk about anything and everything, appropriately, of course, but they got a better understanding of who Coach Kenny was. I got to show them things that, they never would see. We got to visit, different sites that they wouldn't go on field trips on, We got to experience building a relationship with a person that didn't know us and helped us out when we needed space to have our mentoring program or do some basketball things or even just go out to have lunch. We had a meeting place for breakfast in the morning. So those types of adversity were early and often. So at a young age, I moved on from coaching there. Still continue to do some volunteer work. Started doing stuff with other community organizations, coaching, mentoring, and just, embracing what I think was going to be something I was going to do the rest of my life was be a mentor, be an asset to the community that I live in, be a blessing to the people that I'm around. I mean, I've had my struggles. I'm not perfect. One thing I can honestly say, I've never indulged in drugs. I've never been arrested. But again, like I said, I'm not perfect. I've done things that I look back on and I'm like, hey, man, you really made stuff worse than it could have been, or had to be. And those things I've come to grips with. I've lived with them now, and I've forgiven myself. I'm not worried about someone else forgiving me. I forgive myself. I have to. You have to forgive yourself first when it comes to dealing with anything adversity-wise. You have to. Forgiveness has to be one of your big things on top of you being strong enough to get through those obstacles, whether they're physical or mental, spiritual, monetary, because adversity comes in different shapes and forms. So I learned early. I got that in service really early about what adversity looked like, what it felt like, how it made me feel, and how after a while I started to imagine how it made other people feel. My relationships with other people, the opposite sex, my relationships with my children, my relationships with my family members. Those things were adversity-based things, but I love my family regardless. I appreciate and respect the people that I've been through things with, good or bad. I don't hold anything against anyone, and hopefully they don't hold anything against me, but that's not something I can control. What I can control is what I've done, what I'm doing now, and what I'm going to continue to do. And that's become an asset in my community, whether it's South Carolina, Connecticut, or anywhere else that I've ventured into as a community, because my community is the basketball community, and that's a very, very vast community that covers the whole world. Anywhere you go, there's basketball. There's mentors, there's mentees. Anywhere you go. So, with that being said, adversity is going to be something that we're going to key on in various episodes. I want to focus on, coaching techniques. How do you coach the people you deal with in life? How do you manage them? That's a part of coaching. Whether you be, excuse me, whether you're a coach in athletics, whether you're a manager of a firm, any type of business, whether you're a supervisor, you are still coaching. You are teaching those who are working under you how to do a better job or to follow your examples. So we'll touch base on that. We'll touch base on philosophies. We'll touch base on how do you deal with the physical and mental adversities that you go through. We'll touch on who is your support systems when you go through those things. And what are you going to do after the game is over? Not the game of life, but the game of whatever you're doing. Athletics, your work. Is there new projects you want to work on, new adventures you want to go on? Or even while you're still doing what you're doing, what do you want to do that's different to shake up some things in your life, For me, travel is the thing. I love traveling. Also, I love going to coaching clinics and meeting coaches and building relationships with people. I love community work, building relationships through that. I love mentoring. I love working in the field that I work in right now with special education children. I love that a lot. That is like a blessing in disguise to me. I've done it in the past, but right now I am working at a school presently that is, oh my God, it's wonderful to work in. It's a great atmosphere. People there are great. They are welcoming to me. The children are welcoming to me. From the principal to the custodians to the nurses to the teachers to the paras, they're just a great group of individuals that I work with. That being said, also when I go home, hey, listen, I have a great love life person that encouraged me to do great things, even when I feel like I can't do them or I don't have the energy. She pushes me to do those things. You know, I went back to college a couple of years back and was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. No, you're going to do it. You're going to get this done. You're going to get it done right. That was what's sad to me. You're going to get it done right. You're going to do it. I know you can do it. You're an intelligent man. Sure enough, lo and behold, a couple of years later, I graduated magna cum laude with a 3.88 GPA. I made Honor Society. I'm a member of the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. And I was, when you talk about being proud of yourself, and some people say pride is a dangerous thing. No, pride isn't a dangerous thing. Anything you want it to be, that's what you want it to be. To me, proud is something where I can hold my head up high and say, hey, I accomplished that. And I did a very good job at it. I did the best I could. And look what it's got me, So, and it's something I can use in life. I built some great relationships while in college with the professor and head of the department. Me and him became very good friends. He passed away a couple of years ago, and I'm going to miss him. He was a great mentor to me. I've never met someone that took so much pride into what I was doing as a student. He said I was one of his best students. That, you know how that feels for someone to say that to you? Especially another grown man telling another grown man, you are my best student. And when it came time for me to get a letter of recommendation or reference, he didn't even hesitate at all. He did not hesitate to write me a glowing letter of reference. I loved it. I was so proud to get that letter. A few months later, after he wrote that letter, he passed away. That was a tough day for me to find out that man was gone. I'll miss Mr. Ben Lawson Holland. He was a great asset when it came to me learning about different things in the field that I love being in, which is athletics, which is tutoring, which is mentoring, which is working with children. We're working towards helping our future become better. So, as the weeks go on, I'm going to bring on some special guests. We're going to sit down and have some casual conversations about adversity and a few other topics as we dive deep into doing some self-help stuff, some self-repair, some things I feel that if we put it out there, I think if it affects one person and helps them, hey, we've accomplished our goal. Sometimes in life we think people don't want to hear our story, but they do. They definitely want to hear our story. So I'm a firm believer in people telling their story. I'm a firm believer in, and my partner has told me in life, don't talk about me, teach me. What great advice. Excuse my coughing. What great advice to get. Don't talk about me, teach me. That is a part of Impact Without Limits. That is something that we every day have to really, really instill and ingrain in our minds. Because we're first to always, if a business doesn't do what we want it to do, we'll badmouth it. Instead of, talking to those people that, hey, this is what your public wants. This is what your public needs. Let's see if we can come to some kind of compromise and do that, and let's help each other out. That's how some of us, as far as community service people, do too. We have a tendency, we don't want to engage with other community organizations because, some people want to know what the bottom line is. I don't. My bottom line is saving people. It's not how much we made, how much we can make on doing stuff to help our community. I know you need money to run your business. I know you need money to survive. But also, What about those people that don't have those things or access to those assets that we have as community people? Food, clothing, companies that we can go to and get donations and get those resources that those families need. You know, we have to look past what we need as community service and look what the community needs itself. That's our main goal, is to take care of the community first. Physically, we have to take care of ourselves. That's a given. Mentally, we have to take care of ourselves, but overall, we have to take care of the community that we serve, that we live in, that we want to make safe for everyone around us. We want everyone to be successful, to profit in some way, some form of fashion. It doesn't always have to be money wise, you know. Things that make me feel good may not make you feel good as far as giving or helping in the community. So this is a introduction, and we're gonna do this every week. I'm gonna bring in somebody. Some days I'll just go on my little rant like I'm going on around and talk about the things that I've been through, that I've done, things that I've used to handle adversity. Some of the, something simple as breathing, something that's isolating yourself away from some things sometimes and decompressing it and actually thinking. Sometimes I'm wrong and it takes me a minute and I'll go back, hey, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize. We all sometimes have that knee-jerk reaction to things, and then, when we think about it, we're like, hey, you know what? Got to look at the other person's point of view. So I'm learning that now. Even at 59, I'm still learning and growing, And I know everyone is too. So we can't hold things against each other. That was one thing I had to definitely learn, to stop holding things against each other, because it just festers inside you and makes you angry, and that anger doesn't help anything. If anything, it weakens you. It doesn't strengthen you at all. Pain doesn't strengthen you. You getting over that pain strengthens you. Those are the things. Getting past someone making you mad. And in reality, it's you making yourself mad, because you have control over that emotion. You have control over that feeling of getting mad. So try to think about that. Try to seriously think about what makes you mad. Not a person, not a thing, but you. What makes you mad? What? There's some things you might not agree with, but that doesn't mean you have to be mad about them. You can voice your opinion. That's okay. Everybody has one. Everybody has their perspective, thoughts on things. Somebody has, like I said, people have their opinions, which is fine and great, but their opinions don't take care of your household. Their opinions are what they are. Their opinions. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't think opinions are there to hurt you, even though some people have cruel intentions, but that's their intentions, not their opinions. So think of it that way. And you don't always have to agree with somebody's opinion. You don't always have to, go back and forth with them because of their opinions. It is what it is. Me, I try not to get into the political or the religious thing. I just something about it that makes me see people for what they really are, and they'll eventually show who they really are anyway. So I just prefer not to get into those discussions. I'd rather talk about solutions than problems. What are the solutions to some of the things that's going on in this climate right now? I mean, this climate is really, really rough. Really rough. It is it's scary out there. It's really, really scary out there for everyone, young and old. It is scary. So I'm going to conclude with, let's try to love a little bit more than what we're doing. I mean, I'm going to keep my promise. I don't know what your promise is, but my promise is to make a little bit of difference before I leave this earth. At least a little bit, And it's going to be a good difference. It's not going to be a negative difference. It's going to be a positive difference in this world. It's going to be. It has to be. I'm going to put all my energy into doing that. So I love you guys. I'm thankful for the people in my life, my love line, that keep me, grounded, keep me focused, steer me right when I'm going wrong. I just love those people every day, and I am so grateful for them. I am thankful for them. Um, I am blessed to have them in my world. Um, I am blessed to have great coaches that have become brothers. I have great to have some great mentors, some great mentees in my life, and I thank God every day for those people, for those things, for the simplest things. I thank God just that I can speak. I can walk, I can hear, I can see, I can breathe. I am so thankful for those little things. I'm thankful for the ability to get through adversity and to build on my character still as a grown man. I am blessed. I am highly blessed. I mean, I got some great people in my life, and I wouldn't ask for anybody, or anything better in my life. So, in conclusion, I love you guys. Thank you. Also, I want to shout out the people that have helped me as far as doing some ad things in the podcast world. Grip Spritz, Traction in the Bottle, and also Let My Tea Speak to You. A young lady, black-owned business. Matter of fact, she did this T-shirt right here. And I think every guest that comes on here, I'm gonna get them T-shirts as a reminder of them being a part of this podcast, which is, you know, one of the first and a part of Black History Month from a guy who started a foundation 22 years ago as a black man to help families in crisis as a promise to his sister who was killed in a domestic violence situation. So, I love you guys. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to work on some voiceover stuff and try to get this episode up and running as soon as possible. So, I love you guys. Peace. Don't talk about me, teach me.